Hi, I'm Brandon Spivey,
Aaron Whitlow.
and we are the Markout Movie Podcasters. In today's episode, we are reviewing DC's Wonder Woman 84, directed
Also,
by
also,
author.
also known as WW84. But go ahead.
That's true. Directed by Patty Jenkins. Um, did you want to give the synopsis? You want me to go ahead and do that?
We're gonna go ahead and hit the trailer, and then we'll do the
We're
synopsis.
gonna we're gonna hit the trailer.
This world is not yet ready for all that you will do.
Your time will come, Diana. And everything will be different.
Citizens of the world,
I'm here to change your life.
anything you want, anything you dream of, you can have it.
You look like you saw a ghost. Diana, look at you. It's like not one day has passed.
I don't want to be like anyone. I want to be an apex predator. You've always had everything, while people like me have had nothing. Well, now it's my turn. Get used to it.
I've never been one for rules. The answer is always more. The way I fly, they will never find us.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
Radar.
Will they shoot at us?
Barbara, what did you do?
All right, it's good enough. It's the whole trailer. All right, so Wonder Woman 84, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig. Is that how you say her name?
I think
White?
so.
I don't know. And Mando himself, Pedro Pascal, and Robin Wright, and other people were in this movie. Brandon, go ahead and hit them with them numbers.
Those numbers. All right. It got a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. 60% liked it on Metacritic. 67% liked it on Google. We go into the Rotten Tomato score, and it's got a 59% on the tomato meter with an audience score at 74%. Those would be the numbers.
Those will be the numbers. All right. So this movie was originally supposed to come out last year, was it a summer release initially?
I think
before
so.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was summer. Then it got switched to I want to say November, but then it got switched again to like December, and it kept this December's release date.
It was
on,
like
go ahead.
it was like a fight between this and Black Widow as to who was going to get moved the most. And so, Black Widow initially was moved, like it was supposed to come out, I think November. I think it was November. But then it got pushed back, and then it got pushed, and then it got pushed. And now I don't know. I don't know where Black Widow is in everything. But this one just land on a date, and you said it kept its release date and Christmas. It came. It was a present for some people.
It was a present for some people. Yeah, This movie it's difficult. I mean, I gave it a good score, and it did make my top 20 films for 2020, but it's a difficult movie to enjoy at times. Like, for me, if it hadn't been for that last act, I probably would have hated the movie. I thought the last act was great. I just don't know where. I don't like the story aspect because it's very Aladdin to me with the wishes and all that. But
Also,
the villain
spoilers.
is good, though. Well, I mean, you know me, I spoil. But I thought the villain was pretty good for what the story was telling. But I don't know. I just think it's a difficult movie.
Yeah, I agree. But I disagree in one aspect though. So for
Okay.
you, it was the third act that
Okay.
kind of you liked. For me,
Yeah.
I like the first and maybe I like the first act for sure. The second act was okay. There's a third act that turned it into like by the third act, I lost my interest in it, and I looked at it to see how much time was left.
It's too long too. It's like I would say at least 15 to 20 minutes too long. Yeah. I looked at the clock, see how much time was left as well. So it's like, come on, get this over with. It didn't like, when a Marvel movie's coming out, you see it's 2.5 hours. It didn't flow like a Marvel movie.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And I'm not trying to compare, but I'm just saying it doesn't flow.
Oh,
like,
Aaron's going to compare. He
you
will
go ahead
compare.
and compare.
So, all right. So DC has not really hit their stride. There's like for the last several films that came out, I can honestly only say I enjoyed three. The last few years, I'm not counting like Dark Knight stuff because that was great, right? But I'm talking about like I enjoyed Joker, I enjoyed the Harley Quinn movie, and I enjoyed Shazam. Those are the three films. And with Shazam, I felt like they said, let's not do what we've been doing. Let's try something different. And they made it more comedic and more just like it felt like a really great film. And then I guess Aquaman, people really like that movie. I wasn't in that camp. I liked it. It was okay, but it wasn't like I like Shazam more. So
Well, for me, I would say this movie makes me appreciate the first Wonder Woman movie a lot more. I thought initially that movie was overrated, but now seeing this movie, I gotta say, no, it's pretty good when you compare the two. But yeah, and again, I gave it a positive rating, and I do think I think I'm gonna go back on my positive rating just a little bit. I don't think, because I now I think about it, I actually enjoyed New Mutants more than this, and that's hard to say.
Shocker.
I actually enjoyed. I tell you the truth, I actually enjoyed Vin Diesel and Bloodshot more than this movie. So if we could go back, and if I would have really thought about it, Wonder Woman '84 probably would have even made my list for anything. So
well, you was limited in what you was able to see, so you had.
I was limited, but well, I guess we should start at the beginning when she's a little girl, Princess Diana.
Yeah, Princess Diana. So there is a before we start real quick. There's one thing that I don't like about Wonder Woman movie so far is this. So when we first introduced to Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, we're introduced to her in the Dawn of Justice, Batman v Superman.
Yes.
We're introduced to her in that. So I'm like, cool. I like to see them progress her story. But then when we first get her story, it is a prequel. So for me, I'm like, I know she survives because she's in this other movie. I know that she doesn't really lose a lot because she survived. But then I'm like, well, okay. Then we got the actual Justice League movie and stuff. So we're back in the future. We're back in the present. I mean, that's good. Then for her next movie, let's go back to '84. Like she has yet to really have a standalone movie. set in the current time, and I just don't like that. That's just a nitpick, maybe, but it's just for me. It's hard for me to really get invested in your film if your film is like a prequel, and I know that there's something that comes out after that.
Yeah.
You know,
And also, I think a problem is I think she's trying to be film wise too much like Captain America films, where the first one was a prequel, the second one was a political thriller, this one's a political thriller. You know, I don't know that I've seen comparisons to Captain America, and I think they need to go a different direction from here on out with her character. But that's just me thinking. I had some cats fighting over here, so
I had no idea there's cats, but okay, I see it
yeah.
now. But yeah. So if we can start from the beginning, we're gonna start with them back in. I have no idea what the name of the country. Amazonia. I have no idea, but they're in the women land, the land with the other powerful women beings, and a young Diana wants to be a part of a tournament that and she's the youngest one competing in the tournament, and it's to get some type of recognition, and she does okay until like she cheats to she takes a shortcut in life instead of doing what other people is doing. And go ahead.
Yeah, she takes a shortcut and she thinks she's gonna win. And what is her name?
The Robin Penn Wright, that one.
Yeah, and Antitope or whatever it's called, stops her and gives her a life lesson how you cannot take shortcuts and win at life, which is a very good lesson. But and she's so upset about it, and and then it kind of cuts to 1984, and I like that opening, but I don't feel it really did anything for the movie itself. Like I would love more stuff back there. Like for a second I thought maybe more of that movie's going to be back there, but it was not, and that's I guess that's okay. But I don't know. It didn't do anything for me for the final product to start there, especially when you already have the prequel. And
they did and also another thing that like a couple of things. One, I think that this movie takes. I don't want to just bash Stranger Things. I like Stranger Things, but it takes the Stranger Things approach to the 80s, in a sense of it's more commercial and glamorized the 80s, saturated the 80s, but it's not really a true depiction of everything that was in the 80s. It's just they're just showing you like flashes of things that was relevant, like popular or whatever, but it wasn't really a real depiction of what it was like in the 80s. I didn't like that. And then also when they reveal Wonder Woman, they did this whole thing where they was avoiding showing her face until like they showed her face, but I'm like it's pointless because we know who it is. We know who it is. But yeah, so we go from her as a child to 84, and they're in the mall.
Yeah.
And in this mall, this these Miami Vice looking guys decide to rob what was it, like a jewelry store? But then they have rare artifacts in the back.
Yeah.
And they rob.
Yeah, I actually like that whole scene of the mall, the fights. It's when you get past that point, it's where I just kind of started to check out. It's like, because the overall story is about the artifact that you wish it comes true. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole scene though, the fights, the as you said, the Miami Vice look, because it felt very 80s in that aspect of how they were dressed. And I guess my issue though with her, Diana, well, there's a couple issues with her later on in the movie, but I don't know. It just I can't pinpoint what it was. It just too fancy. It was the fight scenes at that point in time were just like they came off too fancy. You know, like
they're not like they don't have the same stunt coordinators and stuff as like a MCU or anything like that. They have really their stunt coordinators are like, yeah, I agree. Like their fans, like the fights didn't really seem
realistic.
Really, yeah, it didn't really seem realistic. And then also they keep relying on her superhero jump like multiple times in the movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That one.
Yeah, I thought it was Ang Lee's Hulk at one point, the way she kept jumping. And I'm not even going to get to the point where she's flying. Look.
Well, yeah, I had a question. I asked my wife this. I said, how long has Wonder Woman flew? Like, did I miss something? I don't. And then she said, well, she did it in the first movie, and I honestly don't remember her doing it in the first movie. But maybe she did. But I don't.
But it felt like watching Superman, the old Christopher. Like I've only seen the first original Superman, but it felt like watching him fly. Later on in the movie, like it was that one shot that was just her flying, and I was like, it looks so much like Superman in the '80s. And I guess it was like a callback. I just don't understand why it was a callback.
Mm-hmm.
Because to my knowledge, like I'm not, an expert on her comics, but I didn't know she could fly. She can glide. I know that. I didn't think she could actually fly.
Yeah, and she wasn't. It wasn't just jumps. It was. She was flying. She's literally flying. And then like at one point, I thought like in the mall scene when she's flying, when she was jumping around and like using her lasso to kind of pull it, almost like Spider-Man's web, to kind of make their way through. You know what I mean? It made sense. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a neat way to use the lasso to kind of give you the appearance of flying, Yeah. But at one point it was just like literally just flying. I'm like, I said, when did she become a Kryptonian or what? I didn't know that she could fly. Like literally, and you let us know in the comments if Wonder Woman, if that's one of her powers. Maybe I'm just not aware if Wonder Woman can fly, but I don't know.
If she can, I'm not aware of it. But like I said, I've read maybe one or two of her comics, so I'm not aware.
And another thing, so then after the mall scene, we're introduced to Kristen Wiig, her character Barbara. We're introduced to her, and she is like a she's not an archaeologist, but she works at a museum, like a caretaker. She's curator. I'm sorry, and she like takes in things and she studies gems. She's a gemologist or something. If that's her term, I don't know. We got a comment. Let me see if someone is letting us know if she could fly. Somebody, Bill Dozer, my buddy, says Godot was average. I mean, she didn't really like add to or take away from the film. But yeah.
Well, here's what I'll say about her. I wanted more Wonder Woman than Diana. I thought there was too much Diana in the movie. But he commented
and also let me see, he because he's a comic guy. All right, Silver Age Wonder Woman in the comics could not fly. After Crisis on Infinite Earth, Wonder Woman of Earth 1 could fly. Okay, so I guess they're making her Wonder Woman of Earth 1. But yeah, I agree with you. I wanted more Wonder Woman versus more Diana. And also there's another point in this. Like there's a scene where they were in the car. We're jumping around, but real quick, there's a scene when they're in the car and they roll up next to Mando, the guy that plays Mando. What's his name in this movie?
The
villainous
Maxwell Lord.
Maxwell Lord, yeah. So they pull up next to him, and she's literally Diana, and he sees her, and then like when they get cut off or whatever, she changes her clothes real quick to Wonder Woman, and then comes up. It's like you are totally revealing your secret to everyone. I just thought about that, and then she's like, and then there's a part where she's like, shh, "It's just our secret. Don't tell nobody that you see me." I'm like, okay, you know, and nobody, and it's just so many things. We're gonna get to it one by one, but all right, after the mall, they go to the museum, and we see what a mess Barbara is. She's a mess of a person, but she's a sweet, kind person. She just doesn't get looked at or seen. She's like invisible. That's what I got from her character.
Yeah.
But the first one to see her is Diana / Wonder Woman, and she's nice to her, but she wants.
I was just gonna say she reminded me of Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, her character. But
but his portrayal of Max Lord was annoying as AF. Yep. Yeah, and then he was a very one-dimensional character, which we'll get to, like they introduced him earlier. They showed him because they did a voiceover with him talking about his commercial, and then you see him pointing and looking at the screen. But yeah, he was a very one-dimensional character. There was like no real core to him. I agree with that. I agree with that assessment. What's your takes on him?
Overall, I mean, I can understand that, but he looked at himself like a loser as well, and he wanted power. I mean, is he one-dimensional? Sure, I understood it, but I also thought he was one of the better villains so far in the DC universe. It's extended unit, whatever it's called anymore. I think he's been one of the best. Not the best.
I don't agree.
I think he's been one of the best. Because there's been some really bad villains so far.
In the DC universe, I say still top is Black Mask. He's like,
oh yeah, I think he's my
villain. That's in my opinion, just in my opinion. And then after that, I don't know. So are we doing the newer universe, or are we including like the Christopher Reeve stuff? Because of course you got to put. Like,
I'm including the new stuff.
Just the newer stuff. I can't include the new Luther because I didn't like him. Joker, he's an anti-hero. Well, no, he's a bad guy. I liked him. I don't like the portrayal of from the dude in Suicide Squad. I didn't like his portrayal of him. But I mean, I can't really think of a lot of great villains that they had. All right, let's see. I love comments. All right, you go ahead and read that for me.
I agree that in Wonder Woman 84, Barbara Minerva was kind of the Riddler in Batman Forever, but we did her best and turned chicken into chicken salad.
Hey, that's what's up. She really, I mean, like she was honestly the best. She was the best. She was one of the best qualities of the movie. Like, honestly, and she did pretty good as a villain. Now, I didn't like. Now, we're gonna get to the third act, but so there's this gym, as you said, and the Maxwell wants to invest in a museum just to get to this gym and go from there.
Oh yeah, he wanted. Okay, what did you say again?
You weren't even paying attention. You hear the cat jingling?
Well, the cats are over here fighting again. So
hey man, let them fight. That's what they say in Godzilla. But no. So I said that they get into the museum. He gets there. He wants the gym. They have a party, and at this party, before this point, there's been, I guess, 2 wishes made. One wish was from
Barbara.
Well, actually, Diana was the first one to actually wish, and her wish was, is a silent wish, essentially that she wants to see her boyfriend again, the guy from Chris again, the guy from the first one. Steve. Yeah, not Steve Rogers, not to be confused. Who also dies heroically in the first movie. Just saying. All right, anyway. But that
a lot of comparisons.
There's a lot of comparisons. I thought about that. I'm like, and yeah, but anyway, So she wants to see him again,
Yeah.
and then Barbara's wish was to become essentially Wonder Woman without knowing that she was Wonder Woman. She said, "I want to be like Diana," and she
Yeah.
becomes like she gets all her abilities and stuff like that. And what Diana lost with her wish was she started to become more human.
Yeah.
What Barbara loses is her humanity.
Yeah.
Uh, and so good juxtaposition, I guess. But um, I don't know. I have comments about Diana's wish. This is it. Essentially, Steve possessed the body of his one man. And
Yep.
so, even though in the movie, at some point, pretty much we're seeing Steve, in reality, we're seeing there's this other guy that he's possessing. And so, really, if you think about it, Diana had stranger sex with some dude that she don't even know because it was Steve. And in her eyes, she's seeing Steve. But in reality, she just got it on with some dude she didn't know. He could have had an STD. Thank God she's Wonder Woman. Maybe she doesn't get it. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It just jumped out to me. I'm sorry. It just jumped out to me. It's how my brain works. Like,
I didn't think of it like that necessarily, but I hated the whole thing. I thought it was pointless to bring his character back if that's how you're bringing him back, just so he's going to leave again. Which I didn't like the direction of the movie to begin with, but I hated the wish thing. I just hate it. But it makes sense in the end. People losing humanity with their wishes. The world's in chaos. Hence, the world's in chaos in reality. But I don't know. It was too Aladdin for me with all these wishes.
And then people got, and then at one point, people essentially got infinite wishes.
Yeah.
Because, all right, so Maxwell, when he's leaving his office one time, he asked this guy, "Hey, do you wish that this will work for me?" or something like that. And the guy's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, did I grant your wish?" He says, "Yeah, Porsche." But it didn't work. Like the guy's wish didn't work because he already granted it. But then at some point, they just scrapped that and say, "Hey, anybody get infinite wishes." Because if you think about it, Barbara already had a wish to become like Diana, but then she made another wish, and her wish was, But I guess if you think about it, what he can do is, I don't know. I don't know how that works. Like, did he just take somebody else's whatever and then give it to her to give her to be able to have that wish? How does that work? Like,
there's plot holes in the whole wishing tree. That it just is. I mean, it's just plot holes all around this movie. And I mean, I noticed it while I was watching it, but I was like, okay, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. But I was like, it's okay at points. It's like, it's not great by any imagination, but it's okay. Give me some action to go with this, because I don't know, it just, to me, it felt a lot like Aladdin, but a more serious tone, which is not good. But I don't know, there's plot holes with the wishing. But I understood. So here's the part I do understand fully is Matt's his motivations. He wants to control the world. They didn't need Steve Trevor in this movie. There are so many other interesting characters in the Wonder Woman canon they could have used or introduced. I agree.
I agree with that. Yeah. And it was pointless to have him. And then also there was another thing that there's little things that bother me because it's just not like, so that they steal a plane or a jet, right? But they was able to fly from Washington to Cairo and then back on the jet, like without refueling, I guess, or even just like in matter of seconds. I know it's movie logic, but still, it just bothered me because they spent most of their time. I'm thinking, oh, well, y'all need to hurry up and get where you need to be, but they were like, oh, let's see the fireworks. Let's go up in the oh, beautiful. I'm like,
I like that.
Huh?
I like the scene though, but I get what you're saying. But I did enjoy the scene. I enjoyed Steve in the movie. It just I hated how he was brought back. And I just hated the whole way he was brought back. I felt it did no justice for his character. I would have preferred him not to come back if that's what you're gonna do.
And also, if you think about it, what it does is it hollows his sacrifice in the first film because he died essentially. He died to save his love, and so that they can she can do what she needs to do, and it just hollows it. This is just how I feel about it. Maybe I'm stammering, but I just felt like it just hollows it. But both of them get their wishes, and then the movie takes this aspect of what I was thinking was going to happen, which would have been cooler, I think, in my opinion, is whenever she wished to be like Diana, that in return she's becoming more like her. So I was thinking, well, is this what's happening? Is for one moment I said, is yeah, like I'm like that'd be a really cool aspect.
That would have been a fun aspect to play with if they would have done that. But this movie lacked a lot of fun. I thought the last act was fun, but it did lack a lot of fun. It didn't feel like a comic book movie at times. It just felt political.
And not even good political. Like the guy they got to play, I assumed that guy was playing Ronald Reagan because that's who was president in '84. But he looked nothing like. They could have did such a better job. They just got some dude and say, "Hey man, you want to be Ronald Reagan?" Like they could have at least get someone to look like Ronald Reagan. He has such an iconic look. You got to get somebody that kind of looks like Ronald. And they failed to do that. I was just thinking about the movie The Butler, who they got to play Ronald in there, but yeah, they failed to do that. Yeah, the movie for me, man, when they're figuring out that something is going on with him, when Barbara's finding out that she's stronger, and then guys started to look at her, she didn't realize that it was from a wish, and her realization that it was from a wish went like unnoticed. Like she was like, okay, it's whatever,
Yeah.
It wasn't. I thought she had more of a, oh, what? So this is because of the wish, and it wasn't that way. So her reaction was like, oh, well, yeah, it's a wish. I want to keep it. I'm not giving it up. Also, hey, did you notice the cameo of Jerry Lawler?
Yeah. I noticed it.
All right, let's see. I like your comment, Bill. Thank you. Oh, you ain't gonna read it? We can't have silence, man.
I was okay with them stealing the invisible jet for fan service. They should have given her the power of flight in Dawn of Justice.
I agree. And then he also says, introducing her flight power and jet within an hour of each other is just lazy writing. It is. It is lazy writing. Oh, man. And so we get to the scene where essentially they're trying to catch Maxwell. He takes the stone and his wish is to become the stone. So he essentially has infinite wishes, but he can't wish it for himself. He can only ask someone, he can only influence someone else's wish to wish it for him. So he'll say something like, don't you wish the Markout Movie Podcast would be the most popular podcast on the planet? Don't you wish that for me? And they're like, yeah, I do wish that for you. You're like, your wish is granted. So in return, I'm going to take all your money.
Is that what you wish?
But yeah, so and then it got to becoming that, like every time it's like nobody ever questions him. Nobody ever was like, "Nah, I don't wish for anything, man." Nobody's like, and then then his son's like, well, I wish for to have your excellence or have your greatness or something like that. I thought that his son was gonna then become the wishing stone. There's a scene, but then nothing really happens. And I'm like, this is dumb. And then it's just dumb. It's plot holes, like you said, plot holes. The wishing thing is a plot hole.
Yeah, like his son truly just wanted him to be there for him. That's it. He was always too busy because he wanted to be cool or in control of everything. He just wanted him to be there, essentially. Yep. That is your moral of this story with the Maxwell's character.
All right, real quick before I put up this comment, real quick. This is just my mind. This is how my mind works because it's me, man. Nobody ever explained out like, so is the son adopted or it's just how is this his son? Maybe it is. Maybe there is. Maybe his mom was. I don't know. I just had questions. I had so many questions. It's like in Jurassic Park 2, Lost World. Is it Lost World Part 2? Yeah. Nobody explained Ian's daughter. Like it never comes up. We just go with the punches. All right. But anyway,
I'm not sure that was like maybe a stepdaughter.
That's what I kind of thought.
But because she would have more of his DNA, I would think, than the mother's.
Yeah.
Because I have a cousin that's biracial, and she had more of the DNA of the father than the mother. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's the case for everybody, but I'm just saying.
But I just wish there was more, like they never really discussed that. Or what? Maybe it's like it doesn't need to be discussed, but just something that I kept was wondering, like, hey, this kid is pure.
I didn't even know he was even married before.
Yeah, but not only that, which the kid's character in itself. Let me say this: he could grant wishes and use car salesman tactics to get wishes out of people. A really disgusting use of Max Lord's character and Pedro Pascal's talent. Yeah, I agree. See, I'm not familiar with the comic book character, but yeah, it's just it was like Bill Dozer said, it's lazy writing. But yeah, as far as like his kid, the kid is like he's really didn't serve any real purpose. He was more of a just he has a kid, but he's not doing it for his kid. He's doing it for himself. Because kid's like, I just want you to be here with me, Dad. And he's like, oh man, you're here. Oh Lord, but I don't know. I just felt like it was they didn't develop the kid. They didn't develop that. There's just like laziness. It's laziness. I agree. That's the word, laziness.
He was. I don't know. He started off like he wanted to be a better father, but he just ended up just wanted to control the world. Which I guess I ain't gonna go into politics. I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna leave that alone. But I don't know. Overall, I just didn't like the overall direction of the movie or the story. Just when you watch the first Wonder Woman movie, you don't see it going here, do you? Or is it just me? I didn't see it going to be a political thriller. I
wouldn't even consider it a political thriller because it just doesn't. It's not. It's just not even. It's not. It's not nothing. It's like I guess they got. I guess it is under the guise of a political thriller because the guy is very Trump-like. I guess in the sense of.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go there.
I'll go ahead and throw it out there. That's what I guess it's what they're trying to accomplish, but it's just. They fell in it, man. And the thing about it is this happened in 1984 in this universe. They never mentioned this in no other DC film that has chronologically taking place after this point. They never say, "Oh, you remember back in '84 when everybody got granted wishes, you know, and the world went crazy." They never mention it. It's like this is just for the.
See that's another problem. It's a plot hole because this is why you shouldn't start a universe in the middle of things. You should start at the very beginning. Honestly, you should. You shouldn't start somewhere in the middle.
And
like
you know what?
did.
And they mentioned, and this is the same. This is pretty much the same thing that they kind of encountered in the Marvel MCU universe with Captain Marvel, because they essentially make Captain Marvel take place before, like after the first Avenger, the first Captain America movie, but before Iron Man, right? I think it's like right in that time frame. It's before Iron Man. Yeah, it's in the 90s. So this is placed right there, dab in the middle of that. But the only problem is the stuff that they talk about in the movie. There's never ever even no other reference to it in anything else. Like they never like none of it is ever like in the Tesseract, like
the way I look at it though is this universe is not connected anymore.
Talking about this DC universe?
Yeah, the DC universe. It's not connected anymore. How can it be? It's a big, colossal mess over there at DC.
Yeah, they should just really, honestly,
two Batmans or three Batmans, depending on who you believe. You don't know if Ben's in or out. People saying Michael Keaton's going to be the new Batman over there. I mean, you don't know. It's just a big mess. I wish him the best, though.
I want DC to succeed, because growing up, me watching the old Superman films, the old Christopher Reeves betraying Superman movies, it was my first encounter with a comic book hero. Was those films, and so I really enjoyed. And it's in the 80s, man. So I didn't think of anything about a shared universe or whatever. Nobody knew anything about that stuff, man. Just like Superman, and then like eventually, we got Batman in like the 80s, like Michael Keaton, and I'm like, oh man, this is really cool, And then from there, after Batman is just like, just not really hitting the stride, hitting the mark, and they really lose it. Like with Green Lantern, they really like they lose their footing, man, and then the next good one, I guess, was Batman, the Chris Nolan stuff, right? Or am I missing something?
Yeah, Green Lantern, I think, came after the Batman trilogy. That Nolan did.
No. I think Green Lantern predated the Batman trilogy.
I don't think so.
I think.
But I was thinking that because Ryan Reynolds is in that, and
Ryan Reynolds. It came out like 2000 and.
You may be right, but
I think the Batman trilogy came out like 2014, 2015. I think they came out like 2003 or 7. Maybe I'm wrong.
Dark Knight came out in 2008, I believe.
Okay, so when did Green Lantern come out? I know we're not even talking about that. Huh?
2011.
Okay. Oh wow. I didn't realize that. I guess because I don't like Green Lantern. I just thought that was terrible. It's trash. But anyway, they haven't really found their footing. And then this last several years, they started to gain some momentum. But it's people saying, let's not do what they've been doing. Let's do our own thing. Let's take and make let's go ahead and make a Joker movie, but make it like this. And this is what you got. Or let's take Shazam and let's make it more, I don't know, I'll say more like a Marvel type of, it had more of a Marvel feel to it than it did a DC film.
I think Shazam had a Marvel feel. I think Aquaman had a Marvel feel.
Birds of Prey?
Yeah, I thought that had more of a Marvel feel. It was more fun. But I tell you what, like I know people hate on Dawn of Justice, but I actually really like that movie. I like what they did with it, and whether you like it or not, Justice League crapped on it moving forward. It just took a big dump on that. I don't hate Justice League like some people do, but I can agree that it took a dump on what Snyder started.
Justice League. All right, the Beowulf type, or whatever his name is, whatever the CGI villain in that movie was trash. All right, it's like when you see Thanos, you feel like there is a real guy named Thanos that's kicking butt and taking names, and he feels like, and a credit to Josh Brolin as well playing that character, but you feel like it's a real actualized person or individual, a being.
But another thing, though, is that Marvel actually took the time to develop his presence in that universe before putting him on there on screen
Facts.
for a whole film. They took time to develop it. They took time to develop their own shared universe. I mean, they just didn't throw them all out there, like DC did, which I knew that was a mistake. I know we got off track on Wonder Woman, but that was a mistake. Every one of those characters should have their own solo movie before you do a team up.
Yeah, I agree. And then so back to Wonder Woman, the third act. I didn't like Apex Predator. What they call is her name Apex? I don't know DC characters like that. Apex.
The Cheetah character. It was supposed to be Cheetah, but it really wasn't.
I don't know. I don't. But I apologize, and I know Bill Dozer is will smack me if he hears. But yeah, I'm not familiar with the character. I just didn't like the look of it. I think that in the fight scene was in a dark area. Somebody kept doing comparisons to like essentially a Power Rangers fight. Like they would show like a character and another character fighting, but anyway, it just wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't. And plus, she's grabbing electrical lines and flying. She would have been electrocuted. Don't do that. Just those are live wires. And then because then she's electrocuted in the water. It's like she would have already been electrocuted. Logic. I'm sorry, but I know this is a DC superhero film. But I hated the third act. I hated the fight, and but then with Maxwell, he has a redemption almost. He's like, oh, finally, I do care about my son. I thought what they're gonna do is kill his son. And then he realized that he gained all this power, but in the midst of it, he lost his son.
Yeah.
I thought but no, he had a happy ending. He probably should be arrested for espionage and everything else.
He would be if it was realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, he had got another comment.
Yeah, the only good thing in the last hour of the movie was the mid-credit scene. Yes, we're gonna get to it. So obviously, Wonder Woman. We're gonna skim over this part. Wonder Woman shocks out Barbara. Barbara is then sitting on the sidelines. Everybody else is renouncing their wish. I never heard Barbara renounce her wish, but maybe she did. I don't know. But at the end of the movie, she's walking down the street. Then they have a mid-credit scene, and they cut to somebody walking, and lo and behold, freaking Linda Carter. I marked out for Linda Carter popping up in the movie. And I was like, yes. And that makes me excited to see Wonder Woman 3 if they don't take it place in the 80s, but if they move it to the present time or something, please move it to the present time. Give her something set in today's time. That's all I'm saying. But I love Linda Carter. What's your thoughts on when she popped up?
I mean, I'm not familiar with the original TV series, but I knew who she was. I thought it was a good surprise for the original Wonder Woman fandom. It was good that they got her. I think they probably should have gotten her in the original movie, but I don't know. It was nice that they got her. But like I said, I'm not familiar with that original show, so it didn't hit me like it would hit some people. Some really diehard Wonder Woman fanatics. But it was a nice moment. I will say that.
Yeah. I thought that it was a nice moment, and I just was really blown away. But not blown away, but just marked out, like I said, just seeing her pop up, and it got me excited to see her, right?
Yeah.
But all right, we're gonna go ahead and shoot this dog. No, there's no dog being shot. You can't say that. No, don't shoot animals. But we're gonna go ahead and get to our marks. All right, so I give this movie. I'm gonna go ahead and go first, Brandon, if you don't mind.
All right, that's fine.
2.5 markouts out of 5. 2.5 markouts out of 5. So I didn't really enjoy this movie. I enjoyed some aspects of it, and there's some comedic parts of it. But for the most part, this is abysmal second outing for this franchise, and I thought that it could have been stronger. And I love the idea of the market in the WW84. I like that idea of it, but they didn't really lean into that as well as they could have. And so for that, 2.5 markouts out of 5. Brandon?
All right, I'm gonna give it a 3 on the markout meter. We disagree on the last act. I actually enjoyed that the most, but I have a problem though with the flying though, but just because she didn't seem to fly in Dawn of Justice, Justice League, or the original Wonder Woman movie. But I didn't mind the fight scene with her and Cheetah. It was really dark, and I think it was really dark because her CGI was underdeveloped. But I didn't mind the fight scene, and ultimately, with her and Matt's, I actually felt he found his humanity again. So it made me understand and appreciate what they were trying to tell.
I like your logo, old head Mike. What's up, bro? Horror's Emporium. All right. I didn't think it was as bad as everyone made it out to be. Reminded me of an old Superman movie. Maybe like 6 out of 10 is his rating. Hey, man. And that's what we do here, man. If people like it, we're cool with that. We enjoy that. We don't bash folks for their opinion at all because, we're all fans of movies, and that's what it's about. Bill, if you're still watching, you want to give me your thoughts on it, you can do it real quick. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that it was underdeveloped. I think that the CGI was underdeveloped. But nonetheless, the character, the personality. I love the idea of Barbara fighting her and fighting to the point of because she doesn't want to lose her notoriety, her being seen, her being viewed, her being, she's never had that in life, and now she's having that, and that's what she's hanging on to and clinging on. So she'll fight Wonder Woman to the end and hurt anybody that tries to take it away from her. I like that aspect of it, and her. So that made her. I can understand where she's coming from, But yeah, she's always felt weak, and so she doesn't want to feel that feeling of being weak ever again. And for that, I can understand her character. But yeah, I was hoping Bill Dozer had his rating. I thank you, old head Mike, Horror's Emporium. Check out his YouTube channel. All things horror, man. He does reviews of like VHS and stuff like that. It's really, really good channel. But Yeah, subscribe to his stuff. We help out each other here, man. But next week, unless Bill pops up, then I'll give it to you. But next week, I didn't watch it yet, but Brandon, we're gonna be looking at
Cobra Kai season 3. You haven't not? I just recently watched it. I finished it yesterday. Oh my god!
don't spoil nothing. Don't spoil nothing for me.
Anything, but oh my god!
I heard people say it's not enough. They want more.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to just try to
this
watching
show
it this weekend.
This show's going to end with people wanting more. That's just how it's going to be. You can't. It won't end with them overstaying their welcome. It's going to end on the right note, and people will want more. And who knows? You may get it in 30 years. You may get it with the younger generation. Another Cobra Kai. I don't know, but it's awesome. I loved it.
I can't wait to talk to you about it. We didn't get anything from Bill Dozer, but if he does, we'll try to mention his marks on it next week. But in the meantime, Aaron Whitlow,
Brandon Spivey.
We are the Markout movie. Was that a cat butt?
It was a cat.
We are the Markout movie podcast series. We thank you for marking out with us here. Come back next week as we sweep the leg with Cobra Kai season 3. Until then, thank you for marking out with us.